Howdy hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome, welcome. I'm Tall Mike. Today is Monday, November 2nd, the day before the big election. It's exciting. The question we're all faced with is, will the election crash the market? Will the election make the market boom? That's what we're here today to find out. That's what we're here today to talk about. I believe no matter who wins the election, we're going to get more stimulus, right? Now, stimulus will make the market go higher. But the question is, will we crash before we go higher? Now, when Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton, I remember that night. The market was sitting, let's call it around 18,000. It was crashing down 2,000 points that night because the market did not expect Donald Trump to win Hillary. So it was dropping like a rock. But by the next morning, it was up 1,000 points. It recovered to 2,000 and went up 1,000 more. The election is going to be a market mover. Now, the question is in which direction? Now, if the election is a clean election, if there's a clear winner, I think we'll move higher. If the election's contested by either side, by the Democrats or the Republicans, if it's a contested election and they're going to fight about it for a week or two, markets are going to come in a lot. So let's take a look at what we got on the SPY here. So today we get in this big relief rally, right? I mean, we're up 500 points. I mean, we come out of the gate today and we're getting that relief rally. Now, I kind of expected that after the sell-off last week. I thought we were overdone to the downside and I thought we were ready for a relief rally. Now, I thought the relief rally would probably come from the election, but we're getting the relief rally going into the election. Now, here on the S&P 500 chart, last week we just crashed through this 50-day and we did a lot of damage. This damage is not going to get repaired in time. Okay, so we're sitting here at 332 on the S&P 500. The 50 days at about 339. So I think we can bounce up there, and that's probably another 700 to 1,000 points on the Dow we're talking about. And I think we're going to get a kind of a rally in this week if we get a clean election. I think we'll get right back up to this 50-day moving average, but I think that's where the resistance is going to come. I think there's going to be a lot of resistance there. I think we're going to get a drop all the way down to this 200-day moving average, and we might even overshoot it a little bit. I think we're going to come down to about 300 on the SPY. About 300. Now, I'm not putting on puts here. What I have is dry powder right now. Dry powder. If we get that bounce after the election up to the 50-day, that's where I'm going to start to put my puts on. And we may even overshoot the 50-day by a little bit, but maybe 345. But I do not think we're going to hit new highs on the S&P 500. I do not believe that. The reason I don't believe that, no matter who wins the election, I do not see a stimulus package this year. I see a very sad Christmas for a lot of people. They don't have money. They simply don't. They have credit cards, but those are even maxed out. And I don't expect the stimulus to hit till next January or February. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I actually thought it was going to be before the election, but since we're pushing it out after the election, what's going to happen? Well, let's say Donald Trump loses. Is he going to sign a stimulus bill? No, he's going to take the market down with him on his way out of the White House. That's what I believe. Maybe you got a different opinion. So I'm getting ready to short this market on a farther rally up to the 340 level on the S&P 500. And then I think it's going to drop down to about 310, 300 even. So wait for the rally up. Now, the reason I'm saying we're going to get a rally up is because today we still have an elevated VIX. The VIX is the fear factor. And the VIX shot up here from down here at 24, shot up to 40. That's a big move. That's a big move. And even though we're up 500 points today, the VIX is what? It's down a dollar from the 40 level. I mean, we're at 37, 38, a couple bucks. but it's only down $1 today with a 500-point up move. The VIX knows that they're calling for massive volatility this week. We may see 2,000-point swings in either direction, up, down, and I think that's going to happen tomorrow night. Watch the futures tomorrow night when the election results are coming in. They're going to be up, they're going to be down, they're going to be up, they're going to be down. And by the next day, it may be completely different. The swings back and forth. There's going to be stimulus. But what stimulus does, stimulus creates more debt. We have too much debt. Now, the candidates don't even talk about debt anymore. In the presidential elections, it was not even brought up. Normally, debt is it's a big consideration. I mean, it's what we need to solve the problem, but how do we solve it? Nobody has an answer, so why debate it? Yes, they're both going to print more money. They're both going to create more stimulus. They're both going to create more debt. And what's that going to eventually do? It's going to collapse the financial system. The whole system's going to come down. There's going to be a big reset, but the whole system's going to come down. And now what I do is I bet against this debt. I bet against, we have this debt bubble that's incredible. We have interest rates at 5,000-year lows because of this debt bubble. Now what happens if interest rate goes up? The debt bubble just going to go boom, and the market's going to go boom. And we're going to crash. We are going to crash at some point. I don't think yet. I don't think the election's going to cause the crash. I think the election could actually cause a rally if it's a clean election. Now, if it's not clean, if it's contested, yeah, we're going to get a pullback. We're going to get a pullback in the market if it's a contested election. But I'm actually thinking it's going to be a clean election. I don't think it's going to be everybody thinks it's going to be contested. Everybody thinks there's going to be rallies going on in the street. Maybe. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a clean election. Maybe I'll be wrong. But I do think you want to have some dry powder. I think cash is king right now. What I've done today is sold a lot of my positions. I've taken off the positions that I have profits in and I'm pulling back. I'm getting ready to go back in. But which side am I going back in? If we get the rally, I'm going to put the shorts on. If we get a big drop, I think that's a big buying opportunity. I think we will still rally up to that 50-day moving average. Now, one position I put on today, it's kind of interesting. It's just a little one I want to tell you about here, is natural gas. This has basically nothing to do with the election, really. It's more of a play on the weather. It's more a play of winter times coming. It's more a play that natural gas right now is pretty cheap. I think it's going higher. Now, this is the 20-day overlaid the 50-day. Now, we rallied from, down here at $9 up to $14.50. I mean, that's a big move. That's a 50% move, and it did it really quick. And then we pulled all the way back to $11. That's also a big move, about a 30% down move, which is about a 60% retracement of the 50% up move. So where we are right now is we're kind of plugging along here sideways. Now this is getting ready to break one way or the other. It's just building up energy. And you could argue it either way. You could argue it's going to break down. I put some calls on today. I'm betting it breaks up. And these calls are cheap. I'm just out till the end of December in these calls. I got a couple months to play out the cold weather that's going to be coming in. And my guess, maybe we'll have summer all winter long, but I don't think so. I think we're going to get cold weather, and I think we're going to get a spike, at least back to this $15 level in the UNG. This is actually natural gas. It says oil here. I wrote oil. I don't know why. It's natural gas. Anyways, natural gas play. UNG. So I think it's going to break up, and that's my play. It's not related to the election. That's why I put it on today. The stuff that's related to the election, I want dry powder to see what what plays out in the election, which way the market's going. It's going to bounce one way or the other. And that's going to determine where my dry powder is going to go to work. Right now, the options are elevated. They're elevated because the VIX is high. Options are expensive right now because everybody's expecting these big moves. I wanted to put my Peloton short back on today. I did not, just because the Peloton was up $5 today. I thought that's a good spot to jump back in a short position. I wanted to do it with options, but the options are so elevated, they're expecting a 10-point move in Peloton just this week. We'll see if we get that. Well, we might get a 10-point move, but I just thought the options were too expensive for what they are. I mean, because the market is expecting a lot of volatility this week. But that's opportunity. It's opportunity for you. So get out there and vote. I'm Tall Mike. We're going to talk tomorrow, right before the election.